Alright, hello and welcome back to another TFT video. Today we are going to be looking at this Warlords gameplay, 9 Warlords to be exact. Today in my ranked TFT climb, looking to get as high as I can this season. Hopefully we can hit something above Masters, which I've been for the past few seasons, and I'm really trying to push it up to Grandmaster. Here in this video though, I am starting out on D1, like 20 LP or something, because I am bad at the video game. But anyways, hopping right into the gameplay. We're going to be looking for the bow, so is half the lobby, so it seems, and we're going to be picking up the cloak right away, actually. So not exactly what we needed, but I think cloak start isn't actually all that bad. So right away in the creep rounds, we're going to be getting a gray orb first, so no item here. But we are actually going to be getting the Warlord Chosen Garen, which I think is an insta-cop in just about every single situation. And I think Warlords is a very good early game comp, even if you don't want to run it for late game. I was hoping I could get an extra gold so I could pick up that Wukong for the potential Vanguard buff, but it's no big deal, to be honest. We are going to be getting a sword. Don't mind my Discord over there. We're going to pick up a sword second, and then getting a whole bunch of units. And if you actually saw there, it is sped up, but there was a Jax in this shop, and I got 2 Jax from the orbs, and I couldn't quite get the tier 2 Jax in, which honestly kind of stinks a little bit, but it did allow us to get some econ here. We would have been pretty poor if I did get that tier 2 Jax, so this is what I'm going to be doing for now. Early rounds, it seems as though we are actually going to be winning the very first round, which is pretty good. Which also makes sense since we do have the 3 Warlord buff, which is pretty good early, and we also have the tier 2 Nasus, which is pretty nice as well. Our items are not great. We only have 2 items early, so it's a little bit rough, and Bloodthirsters is just simply not an item that I feel comfortable slamming on any unit, let alone these units in particular. In the very second round, though, we are up against a very strong Brawler Elderwood player, so we are going to be losing the second round pretty quickly here, which is really too bad. But honestly, in the first few rounds, you kind of just want to streak, so it doesn't matter if you win or lose as long as you are streaking one way or the other. So hopefully from this point forward we will be losing every round. That it would be optimal, and hopefully we can manage to stay strong enough to not lose too much HP but still lose the rounds by a little bit. So again, we don't have any items to put on, so we're just naturally going to be weaker, and I decided to go for econ here instead of buying something like the pike, which I know might be in my final comp if I am trying to run 6 or 9 Warlords. But this is just what we're going to be going for here. Up against Chosen Teemo, which is very, very strong early. Even though it got nerfed a couple patches ago, it's still very good here. And we are actually going to end up losing this round as well. This will allow us to get a second pick on the carousel, which is pretty nice. So we're going to be looking for some Katarina items, so either a glove or a rod, and the glove, the 3-cost glove, was picked up, so we're going to go for the rod here to make Hex Tech and to have the cloak as well for the QSS. Those are the 2 core items, if you didn't know, for Katarina, are going to be that Hex Tech and QSS. If you have those 2 items, any third item is usable for sure on Katarina, and you should be able to win some rounds if you get a tier 2 Katarina at least with 3 Warlords, 6 Warlords even, 9 Warlords, as you'll see here. So, unfortunately there's no Vanguards in our shop, otherwise I would pick one of those up to give the Vanguard buff to my Garen. And here actually you'll see my Jarvan manages to get a couple extra kills right before dying, which is actually super clutch, saves 4 HP, which is not insignificant. It's really not that great to get 5-0'd, especially on 2-5. But, although we are losing, it's actually not too bad because we are at 40 gold on 2-6, which is always a great sign. You'd love to see the econ that high, especially with a comp such as this that can snowball really hard in the mid game just after hitting a few units. So this guy here has actually got the Chosen Fortune Annie, and he ends up doing really well this game, surprisingly, and it's really just because of this Annie that he gets with Dragon Claw and Hex Tech Gunblade. He does get a third item on it later, but it's actually really, really strong, and I was surprised. He ran 6 Fortune for quite a while, I believe. So here on the Krugs, we are going to be hitting the Katarina, and we also have a pike in the shop, but I feel like it is better to get econ than to get the pike at this point, because I believe pike will come back, and I'd rather get 6 Warlords in next than 2 Assassins. So I actually end up buying it in the end, but I didn't mean to. I was considering buying it, and I actually didn't mean to buy it, but I misclicked and actually ended up buying it, which in the end of the day doesn't actually matter that much. It's 1 gold for a unit that I will put in the future, so don't feel too bad about it. So here we do have the 6 Warlord in, so that was a pretty nice power spike, as well as setting the QSS Hex Tech on our Katarina. So our Katarina is able to dish out tons and tons of damage here, actually, which is super, super nice. And I think it actually allows us to win this round. Katarina is very, very strong. It's just the tier 1 Katarina with only 1 Warlord stack. So once she gets all stacked up, and once I get her level 2, she's going to be very, very strong. So we are at the bottom of the leaderboard in terms of health right now, but I'm not too worried about it as I have hit a couple big power spikes here, including the 6 Warlord buff and now the 2 Assassin buff. I did decide to level up, even though it cost me an econ, but I think that's almost always the best play here, to get the Assassin buff in, to get some extra CC in. So both are very, very important for any comp in general, and this comp in particular as well. CC is great for Warlords, especially with Katarina. Lets Katarina get lots of ults off. There, my Nidalee just absolutely whiffed her spear, but does not matter. My Katarina is able to do tons of damage. And here you can see the Annie with 3 items is just 1v9ing all of these games, and it's actually pretty crazy. She ends up doing that quite a bit in this game. So I roll a little bit. I roll like 8 gold and get 1 Vi out of it, which doesn't feel great. But this comp is a reroll comp, and I've been seeing that this patch is the patch of reroll comps of set 4. In general, I feel like even set 4, this is set 4.5, even in the first half of set 4, reroll comps were not super common. I'm sure there were reroll comps, and there definitely were reroll comps for set 4.5 before this patch, but I think this patch is the patch that has the most viable reroll comps. So obviously, Yasuo was always a good reroll comp, duelists were always good, but I think this set has so many really, really strong reroll comps. So I am going to be trying to reroll because I do want to hit the tier 2 Cat. I also want to hit tier 2 Pike, tier 2 Vi, tier 2 Jarvan, tier 2 Nidalee. All these upgrades are really, really big because Warlords are just stat bots, and you just want them to have as many stats as possible to be as strong as possible. And I think it's really good that I'm rolling here instead of trying to go level 7, because I do want to hit the tier 3 Garen. Even though my Garen doesn't have any items, I think it can be pretty important for frontline just to have that extra 1,000 health or whatever and a little bit of extra damage. It can make a big difference. Here, unfortunately, the Shyvana is just so tanky because of the healing buff from Hodge, and I actually end up losing here, which actually really stinks because I would have made gold here. I would have been on the win streak. It would have been really, really nice to win that round, but unfortunately we didn't, but I'm still feeling very, very strong here. Right before Wolves, not much to do, no rolling here, just wanted to get back up to 50 gold. But after Wolves, I will be rolling down a bit more, trying to go for the tier 2 Katarina at the least, if not tier 3 Garen, potential tier 3 Nidalee. Any upgrades can be really, really big here. Jarvan 2 is really big as well. So here my Katarina almost gets one shot, but manages to ult, which actually doesn't end up doing much. We actually get obliterated. These brawler comps are very strong against the Warlords, because Katarina does do a lot of AoE, but it's not actually enough damage to kill the brawlers when they have more than 2 brawler in, because of all the extra health that it gives. So here on the Wolves, we actually do end up getting what I think are the perfect items for Katarina, and we also get a Morellos for our Pike, which is really, really nice. So here I'm rolling down, and I actually hit quite a few Nidalees here, which I wasn't necessarily planning on going for the Nidalee 3, but it kind of just fell in my lap. And unfortunately here, I have the Katarina 2 right after the round begins, which stinks, especially since I'm against this guy with his tier 3 Fiora, as well as he has 8 Yasuo. So good thing he didn't have the tier 3 Yasuo, or else I definitely would have lost this round. And the round was very, very close in general. And here I'm trying to buy the Pike. I'm clicking on it over and over and over again, trying to see if it'll upgrade before I can buy it. But unfortunately, I did not get it, and I'm stuck with just 4 Pikes. But by clicking on that square, I did pick up a Sivir, which is what I will be looking to put in on level 7. And here I do want to be going level 7 because it's not worth it to roll for Nidalee on 6 right now. It's much more important just to get to level 7 to get in those extra units, to get those extra synergies. So after this round, I will be looking to level up. So here you can see we're up against that Annie that's so tanky. And my Katarina is doing absolutely nothing to it, because all I do is magic damage here. And he's on quite a win streak. 94 HP with, I think, 6 fortune in at this point. Perhaps he might have just 3 fortune in. I don't exactly remember. But I actually do end up winning, I do believe, just because the Annie doesn't really do much damage if she's not ulting. And she got a pretty bad ult off there at the end, so I got pretty fortunate. Getting another Jarvan here. Jarvan 3 is actually really good. The damage that he can output is very high. So here I'm contemplating leveling up, and I decide to. But I actually decide to go for the Nautilus for the Vanguard upgrade, because I think Vanguards at this stage are a little bit more important than the Sharpshooter buff. Although Sivir is pretty nice because it gives attack speed. So I could have gone for either of those. Either of those would have been good choices, I think. This guy, I have no idea what he's doing. I ping his items a little bit. Flame him a little bit as well. Probably a little bit rude. Didn't need to do that, but if you have 8 items on your bench on 4-3, you're doing something wrong. And I'm pretty sure he goes 8th pretty quickly. So don't do that in any of your games. That'd be pretty bad. I have no idea what to go for here, but I do decide to pick up the Jewel Gauntlet for Nidalee, because that is a pretty good item for Nidalee, because those spears can hit hard, especially if I get her tier 3. And now that I'm itemizing my Nidalee a little bit, I decide to roll for Nidalee 3, because that is a pretty big power spike. That can one-shot units just left and right, especially with the Sharpshooter buff in, which I do decide to put in since I put the item onto Nidalee. My Garen is already pretty tanky anyways, and I feel like there's a lot of magic damage in this lobby, and not necessarily that much attack damage, so I thought that having a little bit more damage on my side and a little bit less tank for my Garen isn't actually that bad of a trade-off. So I'm rolling here, not really hitting it much of anything that I can use. I'm hitting a few pikes, hitting a few Vis. I decided to roll down to 40, but don't manage to hit the tier 3 Nid and just let it go here. So Brawlers were a pretty tough matchup for me before, but now that my Katarina is level 2, and I think she's fully stacked with her Warlord stacks, she can absolutely obliterate, and she is just unkillable with all the lifesteal that she has from Hextech. It is so powerful. Very strong Katarina against a lot of builds, let alone Brawlers. So we are on the win streak here, which is great, which is perfect. That's exactly what you should be doing when you're going 6 Warlords, when you have this strong of a Katarina. It's very tough to lose rounds. You only lose rounds to hyper rolling comps, hyper super rolling, I don't know, other really strong comps. So we are a little bit behind in levels compared to other players, but we are very close to tier 3 Pyke, tier 3 Nidalee. We have the tier 3 Garen. Lots of good things on our board. A lot of money is gone into our board, and we've hit a lot of things. So one thing I do like about Warlords is hitting those tier 3 units is very strong and very important, and can make you very strong. So rerolling with this comp is super good, and I think it's one of my favorite reroll comps. It's one of my favorite comps in set 4, and I love it in set 4.5 as well. So here you can see my Katarina is just putting in work, but unfortunately, I don't think it does quite enough damage, and we do end up losing to the Aesol, which that is an Elderwood Aesol with nearly perfect items. What can you do about that? Not much. So we get a couple more Jarvans there. Do get another Pyke, so we are 1 away from the Pyke. We're 1 away from the Nidalee. Fortunately, I had to make a tough decision there to buy the Katarina and sell the Vi, but I think tier 3 Jarvan is more important than tier 3 Vi, so I do end up going for the tier 3 Jarvan instead and picking up the Katarina pair. And then on the next roll, we do end up hitting the Nidalee 3, which is, I guess you could say, unfortunate that we didn't hit it in the other order, but it is what it is. And here again, this Annie, level 3 now, is very strong, and this guy's got 2 Nikos on his bench. He's super healthy and surprisingly strong, so definitely got to look out for this guy. But I do believe we end up winning this round after 80 years of wailing on this this Annie. If he had Bramble, we would have won, but since he has Dragonclaw on the Annie, this is very tanky against a lot of the comps in this lobby. The legendary duel, I say. I'm so funny. Anyways, pick up an extra Jarvan. Not much to do here, just going to scout a little bit. He's running 6 Fortune there, if you could see. I was only on it for a second.
There's also someone running... This guy's running 9 cultists that I was just hovering over. Yeah, this guy here. He's running 9 cultists, which is pretty interesting. He's also got 2 Zephyrs. But cultist, I think, gets very hard countered by Katarina. Katarina just one-shots every single cultist unit on the board. And I don't think Galio can really kill her because she out-heals him when he auto-attacks her. So not much he can do here. Pretty brave of him to try and run the 9 cultist, but unfortunately for him, I don't think it's that strong. Do make Econ here, which is great as well. And on the carousel, we are going to be seeing that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Warlord on the Jarvan as well. So gets us a little bit closer to our Jarvan 3. And we are going to be putting that Warlord onto Pyke. So normally I would be trying to run Samira Warlord instead of the Sivir. But since I am rerolling so much, I decide might as well just put it onto the Pyke. The Pyke's already level 3 now. And it's very, very unlikely for me to hit the Samira in the first place. And if I want to run 9 Warlords, I can't run the Pyke, and then what was the point of rerolling for all those Pykes? And I think Pyke is a very, very strong unit. Stuns for 4 seconds. It's very, very good. So we do end up losing this round. The Aurelia ends up having 3 HP, which could have saved me 2 HP. Kind of crazy. But the first guy is out already. And this guy with the... It's the Nunu versus Lulu. Pretty funny matchup there. They both end up tying, actually. And I'm still chilling at level 7 on 5-6. It's gonna be 6-1. I'm still gonna be level 7, which is not optimal, but it's working out for me so far. Here we're up against the Brawler guy. This guy is absolutely fuming, I believe, that I am up against him again. I think you'll see here in a second. Or maybe that was a different game I played. But we are able to pretty easily defeat him, I believe. Oh, did we beat him here? Oh, we might not actually beat him here. Well, let's see. Oh, we actually don't end up beating him. I must have been thinking of a different round, but very, very close fight either way. If the Shyvana would have died, I think I would have won, actually. So, could have been close. And here you can just see that Annie versus Aesol matchup is pretty funny. Neither one can kill the other, and it does end up being another tie. Deathblade, not a great item. It would be pretty good for Samira, but I decided just to put it onto my Nidalee because I don't know if I'm going to hit a Samira. I do end up hitting the tier 2 Sivir as well, and I decided to roll down in case I do hit the tier 2 or the Samira. I don't know what I'm saying. I do hit some of the Trinamirs, and I'm also now looking for the Azir in particular because that would be 9 Warlords for me, although I would have to take out the Sharpshooter buff, which honestly isn't a big deal. I think my Nidalee only needs to hit like 1 or 2 units with her ults to be effective. The bounces don't do that much. I mean, they can do quite a bit, but they don't do that much. And I'm feeling pretty good. So 33 HP on 6-1. Second place right now behind the Fortune player, surprisingly. You don't say that very often. The 6 Fortune is being ahead of you, being first place. It's pretty crazy. So I'm going to keep rolling. Probably just going to donkey roll down for the Katarina 3, for the Azir, all that good stuff. Trinamir 2 maybe even. Hitting a couple Katarinas, which is pretty nice. And looking for that Jarvan 3 would be nice. And I do end up deciding to sell the Sejuani, which I think is an interesting choice here. I sell it because I want the Warlord stacks on my Trinamir, and I know the second I hit Azir, I'm taking out the Sejuani anyways. But I think Sejuani might have been better than just the Trinamir, because I think Trinamir 2 makes very little difference in this situation. But I definitely wanted to sell something for the Jarvan, because Jarvan 3 does so much damage and can really make the difference. So this Annie is just getting stunned to death and does manage to get an ult off, but this one wasn't quite as close. I did have 4 units left, and I'm feeling like I'm probably going to be able to beat this guy if he is the last guy in the lobby, because he's not scaling all that well. We are going to hit another Katarina here, which is pretty nice. And just got to hit one more until we hit Katarina 3, which will be huge for us. And that will be our 5th 3-star as well. So quite a lot of 3 stars in this game, which I always love to do. Love to get those 3 stars. Wish I had a few more items to put on them so I could get my Jarvan to one-shot the whole board, or get my Nidalee to ult twice as often with some Shojin or something. I decided to switch sides, but keep the Sivir on the right because of the Aesol player. And I do end up playing against him, which I think was a pretty good switch. So here the Aesol should hopefully ult the Sivir instead of the Nidalee, which could allow me to win, or at least do a little bit more damage here. Also, if I had the tier 3 Katarina, I think I definitely would have won this round. I don't remember if I do or not. I think I probably don't. That Acel is super, super tanky. Yeah, I think Katarina 3 could have made the difference, but unfortunately here, the Acel does manage to survive and kill my Pike. So, it is what it is. Hopefully we can hit that Katarina before it's too late, and we'll be very strong. So here, I instantly see the Azir with a sword. Doesn't matter what item he has, I'm going to go for the Azir, because 9 Warlords is a very, very nice power spike. And Azir is also just a pretty good unit in general, so... I thought he was about to take the Azir, and I was a little bit nervous, but luckily I was able to grab it, and we are secure top 4 as of last round as well. There you can see I'm highlighting the Nidalee damage, because it is significant. She does quite a bit, and that was against the Elderwood player, so that was pretty interesting as well. So I really do want to go level 9 here, because I want to get in the Sivir. I want to get the Sharpshooter buff in. But I also want to roll, because I really want to hit the Katarina 3. And luckily, it only takes one roll, and I'm able to hit the Katarina 3. And here, I don't know who I'm up against. I assume it's this Kale guy. And for some reason, I don't move my Katarina. I looked at him, and I was like, I got to put my Katarina over there. And then just now I realized, oh shoot, I should have put my Katarina next to the Kale. And so that was just a huge mistake. He was able to shroud my entire board, my Katarina included. And that was not very smart of me, to be honest. Luckily, Jarvan does get an ult off, and so does Nidalee, and I'm able to snipe her, but she does have GA, so I had to snipe her twice, and unfortunately that allowed the Yone to clean up and kill the rest of my board. So I am really, really low here. I'm on 1, maybe 2 HP if I get one more really close fight. So, or I have 2 lives, not 2 HP. I'm on 13 HP, but you know what I mean. Anyways, here I'm looking at the Fortune guy. He might be going 4th, which is really too bad for him because I literally liked his board. I thought it was so awesome here that he got this far with 6 Fortune as well. And the Kale guy is Mr. Win Streak over here, so I think I can definitely beat him if I get my Katarina onto the correct side. And I do end up putting my Katarina on the right side because the Acel player is on the right side, and the Kale player is as well. And I'm pretty sure I just beat this guy anyways with my 9 Warlords. He is just not super strong at all. He's still running 6 Fortune for some reason. I don't think that that's a particularly smart decision by him. So here my Pike is able to clean up a couple extra kills, but his Annie is super tanky, and it's a little bit scary. Unfortunately, my Katarina doesn't get another ult off, and he actually manages to tick down with Sunfire Cape. He manages to knock out my Pike, and I drop all the way down to 3 HP, which super close to dying. Don't feel great about that one, and I'm feeling a little bit nervous. But I'm pretty sure I can beat the Kale guy if I position well, and I'm pretty sure I can beat the Acel guy now that I have tier 3 Katarina. So I'm actually very surprised that I lost to the 6 Fortune guy. And here there's no reason to roll, because I don't think Azir 2 is going to make much of a difference, and if the game does last long enough for me to go to level 9, I would really like to go level 9, because I think that would just secure the win for sure, because my Nidalee would be ulting twice as many units as well. So here I am up against the Kale guy, I think, or the Acel guy. So I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be up against the Fortune guy. So I do want my Katarina on the right side, which I failed to move, unfortunately. And this guy was 1 away from the Acel 3, so that could have been a huge bummer if he did hit the Acel 3. But that's also very hard to hit, especially on level 8. So little lucky for us, unlucky for him, perhaps. And there, if you actually looked closely, it looked like my Nidalee spear just disappeared, which I don't really understand. But very close fight here, but we do manage to win. It's those tier 3 units, baby. And as expected, we are up against the Kale player. I keep messing up my words. Anyways, so I feel pretty confident about beating this guy. I just got to position my Katarina on the correct side. I also decide to move my front line back a little bit because I want his front line to move up so I don't accidentally attack the Yone or attack the Shen or something, because I want them to walk up before they ult and don't get my units targeted on the wrong guys. So I keep my same positioning. I'm noticing there's no way he's going to move all of his units over to the side in time, and I move my Katarina at the last second. I wanted to move my Pike over a little bit too, but I don't think it really matters. And luckily for us, our Katarina gets in a great spot. She also rolls damage, and she just melts the entire enemy board. So this one's looking like a pretty clean win here. Chinmere gets onto the Kayle and almost kills her, but my Nidalee and other units managed to clean it up, and we are able to pull out the dub. So that was the 9 Warlords special. Don't pay attention to the fact that I have a redemption on my bench. I forgot to use it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe for more, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.